so I have this whole big messaging thing about, making friends with your fear. So I've had like a few big fears in life, and one of which was childbirth. And thank God, like I'm not actually physically going through that again. Although, doing this business is a bit like having a child.
It is, isn't it?
Exactly. And two, losing my eyesight, which I'm having some vision issues with some stuff. So you're like, okay, that's coming up, the universe. And number three is paying for college tuition, like when that starts in the 8 years. So it's all literally lining up right now. And I'm thinking, dear God, we're going to be friends. I'm going to show so much love every time I click payment on the college, as my eyes roll back in my head. And hi, everyone. It's Susie Mordoh from Greater Than We. I am so happy to be here with another conversation with women that love what they do. And I'm here with my friend, Elizabeth MacLeod, who is the founder of Wild Woman Enchanted. And she has such great stuff to share with us today that I can't really wait to get started, because she's a fellow spirit junkie like me. We sort of love all things filled with love in the universe. And I think we have to get started. So welcome, Elizabeth. Thank you.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. Yes, fellow spirit junkie.
Exactly. I love it. So you are over in Canada in a beautiful little area that has a wonderful store, and you have great products, and there are so many goodies that I just want you to start by telling everybody, how did you get to the place where you are and that you love what you do?
I love this story because, people always think that, you just sort of arrived somewhere and you just knew what you were doing and there you were. And it's not like that at all. For me, I painted, and I was living on the ocean, and I just thought, I wanted to paint stuff, but wood and all of that stuff it's expensive. So I started to collect stones off the beach, and I started to create these beautiful art pieces with all sorts of different shapes of stones. But what was really interesting in all of that, like I used to make houses, like you would give me the pictures of your house, tell me the story of your house, and I would find a stone and I would paint the story of your house on your stone, right down to the barbecue in the back. Wow. But now it's like, I was like walking around and I started to collect these tiny little stones. Too bad I don't have one right here. These tiny little stones, and I would create silhouettes of women on them, but I also would paint like a canoe with a moose in it. But what was happening is I didn't know what these were what these were. And I went down to this little booth that was sort of open one day. I said, can I sell these here? Like, who are you? And they said, what do you do? I said, I paint these stones. So they said, come and try it. It was just all junk. And I went down and I had an 18-inch basket like this. And I went down and I sat there that day at the ferry terminal actually, and said, can I, do this here? And that people were picking out the stones. And that day I sold these little stones and made $67 and went, wow, that's really cool. Wow. So I just painted everything you could think of on a stone. I painted bookends, I painted garden rocks, I painted what I call Peking cat plants, which are still there. And through that time, at the end, people would come in and they'd go, I'm going to take this off to my friend. She's going through chemotherapy. She needs some power. I'm going to take this because she's magnificent. I'm going to take this for myself because this. By the end of the summer, I watched these stones of these women sort of developing in conversations with people. And it was just a crummy little booth, but it was fun. And what ended up happening is I was driving home one day and I heard this little voice that said, make a set of Wild Woman stones in a red velvet bag with a gold cord. And I went, cool.
Wow, nice.
Later, as I had that, I went to this huge fair. Then they were, fairs were not everywhere. This huge fair that was hard to get into. They said, we'd like to have you. I didn't have them for the jury. She said, you didn't have these. I'm like, no, I didn't know anything, right? I just went. They sold out. And I knew that I was onto something. And now they moved into much, much more. So that's how it started. Just I painted on stones because they were free.
That is fantastic. So for the people that don't know, Wild Woman Enchanted is a line of products, and there is a deck of cards that we'll be talking about later. Right, you can explain, and there's beautiful artwork. So you have this little store or portal by the sea. I love it. How would they, what is a wild woman?
Oh, I love that question because really, I think, when I look at this, it's like our wild is an endangered species. We get so trained into being what we think we're supposed to be or what we grew up into that we stop listening to our instincts and our intuitions and that, gee, I'm going to paint on a rock because it's free and it's really fun. Like, how about, making it so that we just follow that and it's all okay. So the wild is really about bringing that place out and letting her not be an endangered species. Let her, I'm so like the wild woman has to survive. I'm so like into that place of, let yourself be whatever you are. That's why Wild Woman Enchanted, it's like we talk about it as being where life is better, because when you are who you are and when you're able to express that and be surrounded by a tribe who embraces that with you, then that opens you up to doing everything that you are meant to be, and you get to be the best that you are, which is your own definition.
You're totally talking my language. Did you have any like obstacles that you had to overcome for this success? I mean, you have a lot of great success and a lot of people behind you backing you. So were there any of the rough patches or, uncertainty? And then what would that look like?
Well, when I started the whole thing, I was on a healing journey. One of the reasons I was living on the ocean was because I had been in a car accident and then I had gotten very ill. And so I thought I got down on my hands and knees and prayed like I'd never prayed before. I was living in the city of Vancouver at the time and just said, help me. I thought that I'd have to quit everything that I did. I had no idea that a week later I would be living on the ocean, a ferry ride away from Vancouver in a place I'd never heard of. And that's what I did. And I just followed it. And then I just let the ocean heal me. And not only that, the rocks that I was painting on turned out to be a basalt rock, which is a volcanic rock that's tumbled in the ocean. They were just, to me, pretty. I'd set the intention. I'd put gold on them. And they were gorgeous, but they're the ones that they use in the spas, to put on people and heal them, the rocks. I had no idea people come here to get those. Well, I was just painting on them and doing my thing. And so I think that, when I hear the word obstacle, it's like, well, yes, a challenge came forward, but it was really more for me like I had to follow that path, and that path had something that it was dictating to me and something that it was saying to me that it's like, would you please like do this because there's some juice here. There's some juice here for your wild woman, and we really want you to pick it up, and then we want you to pass it on, which is part of my shamanic work, is like taking it from here, passing it on, taking it from here, creating a bridge between, the people and me, but also like the tribe that I'm working with, but also just creating a bridge from, the heavens to the earth to the heavens, that kind of thing. I don't know, I'm babbling. But.
I'm all about that. And, not that I tell people often, but I am a Reiki practitioner. So I get the whole universal energy. Mm-hmm. And part of some of the rant is like, let my body be a prayer stick for the world. Like, just cue off of me. I'll be the funnel. And what do you need me to do to help raise each other up? So that is like, you're talking my language.
Yes, you're talking mine. I love that prayer stick for the world. That's awesome.
Isn't that a good one? That's a good one. I actually get chills when I even say it, because that's part of sort of the opening, before you start with the Reiki, your little blessing or whatnot.
It's amazing how it all unfolds, because if you just really listen to the path, we think we're supposed to do it away. So we call it an obstacle because there's something that looks like not what we're supposed to do, but when in fact that is totally our path. So it's not really an obstacle. It's like, would you please like look this way? Okay. Oh yeah, here you go. Oh yeah, because it's strong in you. You have something to do. It's not because spirit's coming down and going, bash. It's because it's like there's something strong in you that needs to be happening.
I completely get it. And listen, there's the mainstream. I always find the mainstream world, and then there's the spiritual world, and you kind of kept them separate. And I can no longer do that. I just can't. It just is part of who I am and what I do every day. And it'll either resonate with my clients or it won't. But I have to tell you, it really does, because we're all human, right? We all have it.
Yes, we all.
And I think women are really open to it. Would you say that that's part of like the, personal and business success, that when you sort of intertwine them, that's where the magic is?
I think a lot of the magic is there. And I think some of the magic, like one of the things, that I think is like when people come, it's like, when you come, I want you to feel better than when you arrived, when you leave. Right. I mean, it's sort of like, we want to lift each other up. We want to like be a light in the room. We want to create something and some of that comes from just connecting. It could be from anything, but it just comes from connecting with one another and allowing ourselves to be seen and heard and loved.
Well, that's, in the day of technology, right? We're all on our phones or you're online. And the kids, I joke with my kids, do you even know what a the dial tone sounds like. Like they're busy texting all day. And they're on, so do you use it actually to make phone calls? Because it doesn't seem that way. Like it's all heads down, nobody's looking. So we worked really hard where, you know, my kids had bar and bat mitzvahs, and before we would go through it, and I would tell them, when you see people, not only are you shaking their hand, you have to go like eye to eye, thank you for coming. Like you need to embrace people because they're not used to it. And the kids aren't doing it, you know, interactively, and they're dating and breaking up with text. I don't even get it. But, you know, I get that I don't get it.
Well, it's another world, right? It's a world that we didn't grow up into. I mean, I remember my aunt talking about how the Iceman used to come before 8 o'clock to put the ice down for the refrigerator, you know, and I mean, she just died 2 years ago, but I remember listening to those stories thinking, oh my God,
Right.
like, that's what I am now. I'm a dinosaur too.
Yeah, well, except we're doing this right now, and kudos to us. We are not only breaking the barriers and borders, because we are talking, you know, New York to Canada, but we're using technology in a way that they probably don't even do.
Pretty great. I know. And look at what you're doing. You're gathering people from all over the place with your show and making it happen for people. And we get to talk in a way that we might not if we weren't able to do this.
Exactly. So this leads me to like one of my favorite questions, which is usually, you know, if you could tell your younger self something or give yourself some advice, what would it be? Since we're talking about the little ones and the time. And
yes, we are. See what she would have to say now with all this knowledge of me now in this age. You know, I love to talk about that because, and I love that you ask that question every week and that you're asking me, because when I was 12 years old, I remember thinking to myself, I want to do something great. And I want to do something that nobody's ever done before. But I also knew that that was something that I should not tell everybody, because people would think that, you know, well, who are you to think that? I only told certain people, like I think I told my father, who was a dreamer. So, you know, telling a dreamer was okay because we understood that, you know, you need to be careful with dreams. But there was this little voice that came through and said, I want to do something great and that's never been done before. It wasn't until way later. And also the other thing, I have to say, I remember sitting in grade 6, we studied Norway, and I saw all these fjords and ferries and things going around, and I was like, I want to live in Norway. I want to live in a place like that, right? So it wasn't until, gosh, I lived here, which is a ferry ride away from Vancouver. I live in a little town on the Sunshine Coast of British Columbia, and it's so hilarious because one day I was riding the ferry from Powell River actually to our area here in Sunshine Coast, and I looked around and went, oh, this looks like the fjords in Norway. I'm living in Canada's Norway. And then I suddenly went, oh my God, she was so smart.
Right, you're talking.
It's like the Wild Woman mystery cards. I have the trademark for North America. Nobody else does it.
Right.
So he knew something. So whenever I hear somebody say, I want this, especially if they're younger, I'm like, okay, you're like so right on. You're more right on than you'll ever be in your whole life.
Exactly. I want to see your 12-year-old vision board. Right?
Oh, what a great, I'm going to
But back then it would have been just a collage, right? It was your art project and we were like doing stuff and nobody, but really it's vision boards because you're basically cutting out stuff that you enjoy. But nobody's telling you that because it's that whole, you know, well, that picture was from that magazine, so it's not your original idea or thought. Or that always was something that tripped me up. It was always about originality. And like, I don't know, if I didn't invent the wheel, could I never use a wheel? Like, I don't, you know, everything's been invented so far. So now it's how I interpret it. But I didn't get that when I was younger.
Well, totally. Well, we don't, well, when we're younger, we don't have to worry about what perspective is, you know,
Right.
like my very first, I'm a Gestalt therapist. That's one of the things that I did when I, you know, that's the sort of one of the, what do you call it? The main frames of my work. Okay. I did the Ontogeny Institute in Mexico with, you know, with body gnosis and the shamanic path and meditation, Qigong, all of those esoterical things. But I also have these sort of rooted foundational things. One of that is Gestalt therapy. And one of the things they ask, and we do is, you know, what's your first memory? It kind of defines certain things for you. And my first memory is going to the curling club with my parents at the age of 3 and seeing Santa Claus and going up, and he calls my name and I walk up all so shyly, and I walk up there and I sit on his knee and I get this gift and I go back and I start to open it and I'm like, I open it, it's like pink and it's the Barbie clothes I wanted. And I knew in that moment, magic was real. Like, how did Santa Claus
know?
Oh, how did he freaking know I wanted this, right? And I just, in that moment, it defined everything. And nobody could have told me that. But because I had the luxury of being 3, nobody even said anything, because they want you to believe in the magic, right? And we have to learn, and I talk about this in my courses, how to mature your magic, you know. So there's sort of that level of like, and nobody could have told me anything about that, because I was, and obviously my mother gave the gift to Santa Claus, but I didn't know that, right?
It doesn't matter because you believe, right?
Exactly. It's like in Tinkerbell, what do you believe? Clap your hands, you know.
Exactly.
And you know, I wouldn't probably be doing the work I'm doing, which is very magical. I mean, we've just started to do these malas, which are connected to the Wild Woman mystery cards, and you pick a card and you know which energy field you need. Like, it's all magical, right? It's all different chakras.
Oh my God, we're going to get to play. But before we do that, if people want to find you online, and I do put the links below, they can buy those pieces that you not only sell in your store, they can get them online, correct?
Yep. Yes, they'll be online, and they can get the Wild Woman mystery cards there, and they can get posters, and we also have a set of, we call them Empowered Fusion essential oils, which are all, again, color-coded, chakra-coded with the cards. So it's not only just about, you know, it looks pretty or it smells nice. When you have this, it's like, yes, it looks pretty, but it also brings you towards yourself in a different way, because you're becoming intentional about your energy. So it's touch, right? And you can use them, you know, you can use them as a mala. We call them freedom malas.
I got my malas right here. A friend just gave them to me for my birthday. It's coming up next week.
Put that up a little bit. That's beautiful.
Yeah, some malas here.
And so, yeah, that's, you know, the magic of it all. And then the Wild Woman Empowered Fusion is sense. So it just bypasses all the chatter in our brain, and it supports you. And all I want is for people to feel strong and supported in who they are and what they do and whatever it is they need. Everything goes separately, but it all goes together too. You can buy the whole thing or just one.
Awesome. And you mentioned you have courses. So what's that like?
Oh yes, we're just I do courses on land, but on land, it sounds so funny, right?
That's like, it sounds like a rotary phone, like my landline.
Totally. I have a rotary phone. I kept it from my mother's house. It's kind of cool. I do. I'm just beginning the online courses. And in fact, when people buy the Wild Woman mystery cards now, there's a video that goes with it to just give them an empowerment. I feel it's really important to have that confidence, because we don't have the confidence about the magic and the way we're working with ourselves anymore in some ways. So I just want you to be able to speak with me and be able to see how you do it and watch me do it and tell you a little bit about the histories of them. So that's starting, and that sort of opened up into, let's do a course about the Wild Woman mystery cards, so you know how to read the cards, you get to watch me do it. And, you know, and then there's another course coming up about really going into these different places of energy. So it's all coming in online and using the kind of beautiful technology we've been talking about and using here.
Absolutely. It's, you know, spirits without borders, really.
Spirits without borders. I love your phrases. You should have a whole
I have a whole thing. I got to do like a book.
You do. You have the Spirits Without Borders, a prayer stick. I love it.
Oh, yeah, they just come. They just
totally.
Come.
Oh my God.
It's a gift. The problem is I don't remember anything.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna put that one back.
I think it's the older I get, there's more. And imagining my brain is like a file cabinet, and it just starts falling out the back. Like, oh, it's another year of stuff I got to remember.
Oh, that's
so this is all leading into, like, to me, what is playtime when I do these, and it's angel card time. So will you play with me? What I like to do is, you know, I did shuffle them before, but just so everybody sees that I am going to shuffle them once. And you get to pick the card, and then you'll tell me what first comes to mind, and I'll let you know. But then, unlike any other, you know, conversation, I want you to pick a Wild Woman card for me, because, you know, my dream is to create a deck with all these manifestos that I do, these, you know, quotes and statements, and maybe it won't be, you know, the prayer stick one, but there'll be other ones. And I want to put them in the deck.
One.
It might be it might make it.
And Spirit Without Borders. I mean,
Spirits Without Borders. I'm enjoying that. I better hashtag that.
I think so.
That's where it's like, I have just enough knowledge to be dangerous, and somebody's probably tweeting it right now, and I don't know. But the idea that if these conversations are nothing but sparking something in someone to try something new, that is why I want to do it.
You got to go, you know, with the wild.
I love that. Excellent. All right. So here, okay, I'm always like the wrong way. And you're going to tell me to stop, and then I will stop.
Okay. Keep going. Stop.
This one?
Sure.
Okay. Can you see it? It says miracles. So pretty, right?
She's a gorgeous, and look what she's holding in her hand. It's kind of what we've been talking about in this whole time. And then the energy coming out up behind her in her wings, it looks like a spirit in itself.
Exactly.
These are angel cards, right? Yeah.
They are angel cards. So what's the first thing that comes to mind as it has to do with you when you see that?
When I look at that, I just think my whole life sometimes is a miracle. I mean, I watch what happens, every day. I just think the unfolding it's just keeping your eyes open to that miracle and remembering that, I'm fully surrounded all the time. And when I forget that, I just need to hook in.
Right.
Yeah.
When I see that, I look at that as you are a miracle worker. You really do hold the magic because you acknowledge the magic. And then the stories that you have, which if, people want to hear your stories, they should definitely, sign up for your blog because they're just these little nuggets and gems of love. My nuggets of love. I love that.
Nuggets of love. And I have a great story that's coming about a woman who was losing her eyesight, who came into the store and was attracted to the that's what I thought of, but it's too long a story to say now, but it'll be up on the blog. And she just wanted to take in the artwork that I had done, and I just went over to look at her, like, why are you standing there? And she just says, I'm just taking this in. This artwork is amazing. I'm losing my eyesight and I just want to remember it. She was
like my heart's pat,
so that was a miracle. It's like, I'm the artist. She's like grabs me and hugs me. I'm like, I just fell to my knees. Like, it's like, what do you do with that? Like that, like, if you don't follow what it is that you're supposed to do, then you don't get to have those kind of moments and touch people in those kinds of ways.
Oh, that's the magic. I love it.
That's that card to me.
Hell yes. We have to curse a little, right? Just a little bit.
Hell yes. All right.
It's my turn.
Your turn. Okay, so we'll just go.
I'm going. You're going to stop right there. Right? Go back.
Here?
That. Screaming, obviously.
Screaming. Well, check her out.
What is it? Oh my God, my bad eyesight. What is it saying?
Destiny.
Destiny.
So what do you see in there? There she is.
Well, and she's pointing the way, I have to tell you. I am in the process right now. So I see her elevating off of the ground, and I see her very focused and as to where she's supposed to go. And she is being taken there. She's being, her guides are guiding her there is really the best way to put it. And I will tell you that I am in such a giant transition in these last 4 to 6 weeks that it is exactly what I've been telling everybody. And ultimately, I'm hoping to really do a lot more public speaking. And so I will just claim my destiny right now. Like, that is what I will do. And I'm crafting my story. And it is unfolding as we speak. So thank you for that.
That's beautiful. And I'll tell you, this card talks about destiny being the link to your divine. And when I drew her, you can see that there are stars on her body showing and guiding her way. So you are so supported in that. And if you follow that link to the divine, I mean, what else?
Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this is a treat for everybody that's watching, and that everybody's people are watching globally. We've got which is amazing to me, incredible when I see those analytics.
So beautiful.
Or somebody else shows me the analytics, because as much as I get, sometimes I need a little helping hand. That's part of just getting older and being smarter.
And it's just it's life, right? It's like
exactly.
We can't be alone. Together we can be strong. And, Mandela would say that, right? Mandela would say, you cannot do it alone. You need to do it together. And together we can make this, but alone.
All right. So what I have to end on, because there is nothing better than raising each other up, baby.
You got it, baby. Keep doing your beautiful work, Susie. It's awesome.
Thank you so much. I will have all the links put below, and I am so happy that we did this.
Me too. Thank you for inviting me, and
I love it. Oh, look.